Thanks to Ryan, thanks to Mike, thanks to the rest of the CFT team to invite me here to talk. Let me just cue everything up here. Thanks for going a little bit long there, Ryan. You got some advertising in for me on the company. Oops. So you can tell I don't do my password under pressure very often. So yeah, Kleinfelder is an architectural engineering firm, really small A, big E, and we also do a lot of science. 2,000 people, nearly 2,000 people worldwide. Canada, Australia is our outpost from the US. 70 offices worldwide, so far-flung, not the biggest, but certainly not the smallest. Great company, been around for almost 56 years. So in talking about client experience, what is it? And the best way for me to start is, what isn't it? So it's not fluffy, it's not warm, it actually gets a little hard on some of the edges. It's not client satisfaction, it's not feedback, sorry. It's not customer service, it's not even usability. It's simple and it's complex. The simple part is pretty evident in this room. All of you do this. You listen and react. And there's even complexity in that. Listening, varying degrees of listening. Reacting, aggregate data versus got to fix that thing right now within that project lifecycle. So the complexity gets bigger when you talk about using feedback to design the experience around your services or your product. Most of us are in the professional services ranks, so it's not a widget. It's intellectual property, making it even more complex to try to sell that. Understanding the client experience and how you manage your business, and not just what you do, but much more on how you do it. Sort of the soft side of our business is sometimes forgotten. What is the experience around our brand promise? And obviously relating to our clients. For the client side, it gets a little easier. What do our customers think when they try to learn about us, when they went to our website, when they went to the event and talked to one of our sales folks or our technical professionals? What were they thinking when they used us, when we engaged with a project? And we know it happens, problems happen. So what was the experience they had when we tried to fix, we partnered with them to fix a problem or a challenge that they may have? So it gets a little bit more simpler, right? It's about how they felt about those interactions. So now I said it wasn't warm and fuzzy, now I'm going right to the warm and fuzzy part of it. But were they excited? Were they nervous? Were they disappointed? Were they frustrated? So last night we had a dinner for those that attend. I don't know, was anyone at that experience that you had in that restaurant, did anyone get nervous when they brought our dinner out on plastic plates? So was anybody disappointed when they ate their meal? I know I wasn't. I tried to cut my brisket and I couldn't because it just fell apart. It was wonderful. So thanks for that experience. That was great. So CX is how your clients perceive that interaction with you. So I want you to hold on to they felt, they perceive, think happen. I'm not sure if that's grammatically correct, but hold on to it for me if you could. So the next thing is the CX pyramid. And you guys may have seen this. This comes out of the Forrester group. So I want to give you an example on this one. I did a landscape project in my house. So I had to put plants in the backyard. And my first thing was to go to my trusty Ace Hardware down the street, and they had plants. It was good. They had a pretty good selection of plants. So they kind of met my needs. They had green ones and they had purple ones and flowering ones and all of those things. So the next spot I went to was Home Depot. A lot more selection. They actually had people out there that could help me. Where are the drought-resistant plants? I live in California, so. Where are the drought-resistant plants? They could point me in those directions. They were helpful. I didn't have to work too hard to find out what I needed. So the last store that I went to was called Green Acres, and it's a local brand in my area. So their first question was, hey, could you run back home and take a picture of your backyard? I said, sure. So I went home with the pad. Actually, I took a video of the whole thing because they asked. And I brought that back to them, and they kept looking at it, and like a child, they pulled me through their massive store and put things on my cart. And then they told me why. These colors will match. The slope that I see will retain water. This one will not. So they gave me all of this information. So enjoyable, and the enjoyment for me came from the confidence that they gave me. Heck, I got the right plants, the right number, and I have a lot of confidence that I'm going to be successful in this. The enjoyment before and after the sale. And that's on that pyramid. That's what we need to be thinking about. So the next one is, how do we apply this in professional services? The first is really to understand why. So Mike talked about it a lot, loyalty. Loyalty drives our business. It's actually, loyalty is the growth engine of it. So these numbers, big numbers, 30 million lost, and the cost to get it back is substantial. So a very, very strong financial impact to focusing our efforts on client loyalty, giving them the experience that they need. So this is, I call this my sad slide, or my staff knows this is my sad slide. So I rebranded Kleinfelder about 7 years ago, and part of that I had 40 clients help me through the process. So we bounced off ideas, tried to figure out what was going on in their heads so that we rebranded in a way that made sense to them as well. And what they told me, and Mike alluded to it, and Ryan alluded to it as well, is if you guys, the quote from our client was, if you would just meet the schedule, meet the budget, and bring reasonable value, you'd be in the top 25% of our industry. That's a sad state of affairs. When we got this data, it was clear for us that to get to the next level, to get into the top 5% of our industry, we had to differentiate beyond the threshold. And these are softer things. These are nuancy things. These are not things that come out of just having the conversation that Mike talked about over lunch. It comes from a direct, objective feedback. And you can tell by these numbers, it's just as important as doing the basics, doing the threshold. So the pillars of CX for me is direct client feedback, one. Second one is listen, so you can get feedback, but if you're not listening to it, not a big problem. Listen and fix. Then it gets a little tougher, or it certainly did for us at Kleinfelder. The next one is governance, a governance model. What do you do with that? So if you leave it down there, what happens? Well, what happens is if you leave it down there, meaning at the project level, you repeat it. So we needed a governance model that helped get it across the firm, that helped weed out the systemic issues that we were causing ourselves. The next pillar is design. So stop being reactive and be proactive. Stop listening and fixing, which is, that's the basics, but move into designing the experience that your clients have told you that they want. And then the last one is culture. So, culture in the sense that the clients are first in our thoughts. Every decision that we make should be around what impact it has to the client experience. So I'm going to deviate a tiny bit here, just because of time, but how many companies have you worked for that said, this is our brand. This is our brand. These are our key messages that are associated with it. Why are they not knocking our doors down? Why are they not repeating the business with us? Well, I'll tell you, it's because you don't own your brand. That's really hard for some business owners to get. You don't own your brand. You don't own their expectations, and you certainly don't own that client experience. It's all theirs. Ryan touched on it too, as well as Mike, that our clients are human, most of them. And so they have those human traits, and their perceptions and their views of the touch points they have with your company, totally different from the person next to them, another client. And although that may sound logical, the way that we operate in this industry is that we have our brand. It's our logo, it's our brand promises, it's our values, whatever it may be, and we don't. And as soon as we admit that, the world opens up much more broader to receiving the clients and understanding the client's expectations and catering that experience to them. We changed the culture. Client listening is no longer a survey monkey. I'm not sure who said that. I had to get over that barrier. It's now a project management tool. And our PMs, not everybody, but the good ones, the ones we want to keep, they see this as a tool. They don't see it as I have to do. It's a tool for them. It has nothing. It doesn't take on even the survey moniker. It takes on this is a tool for me to communicate with my clients better, quicker, easier. And lastly, this is the best one, is we've got alignment. So I talked about that governance model. The pillars again, listen, direct client feedback, objective, direct client feedback, fix the problems, governance model, and that's what this is in the last two, design and culture. This really has helped us bring everybody together and solidify that culture of, or begin to solidify that culture of client-centric. So again, every decision that we do, from expansion to adding a new service, dropping a new service, how we do our invoicing, new computer models, whatever it is, it gets bounced up against this, tested every time. And that ensures that the decision that we're making does not negatively impact the client experience for Kleinfelder clients. So culture is a holy grail. You guys all know that. It really drives and sustains our mobility. I wish that for everyone. I would love to say that because of my tremendous leadership that we got there, but it really is just logic when you put it in front of smart people. And they've taken that and they've run with it. So I'm happy to say that my client experience bandwagon is quite full these days. I love that. So with that, I'll thank Ryan and Mike and the rest of the team for letting me come and speak to you.
Thanks so much.